Let's talk to Florida Congressman Mike Waltz, and let's talk to Aaron Cohn, Israeli Special Ops Counterterrorism. Both of you gentlemen, thank you. Mike Waltz, if I may, I mean, this Pakistan thing with Iran hasn't received too much discussion. I want to discuss it because it looks to me like things are getting out of hand. It looks to me like the United States is not on top of this. And it looks to me like all we're saying, Blinken in Davos is still worried about a two-state solution. We have to have a Palestinian state trying to hold Israel back. Like, I don't get this, Mike Waltz. Maybe you can sort it out for me.
Well, Larry, this is what the world looks like when American deterrence fails. And in order for deterrence to be taken credibly by our adversaries and by the rest of the world, you have to have two things. You have to have the military capability to impose consequences, but even more importantly, and this is what we're missing with the weakness in this White House post-President Trump, is our adversaries have to believe you have the political will to exercise it. Now, that's not saying we should be getting in more Middle East wars or any of that nonsense. How you stay out of the wars is when you have those two ingredients. And right now, post-Afghanistan, and with all the mistakes that Joe Biden has made, whether it is Nord Stream 2, the lack of response from the Colonial Pipeline hack, the ostracizing the Saudis, we can go down the long and painful list. That's the situation. And look, when you have people saying, you know, why does the United States, not the world's policeman, but the world's global deterrent force, why does this need to happen? Well, we're seeing what is happening now with it all coming unraveled. And why should every American care? Well, when you can have a ragtag bunch of terrorists shut down 20% of global shipping and oil, that raises the prices for everyone. When you have two nuclear powers, or an almost nuclear power, come to blows, and cause a nuclear arms race across the Middle East, that should scare everyone. And this is why we've got to get President Trump back in that White House and restore deterrence.
Well, Prince Aaron Cohn, by the way, Happy New Year. I just didn't understand the Pakistan bombing of Iran. Now, I understand why they're bombing. I just don't know what the United States position is on this or how this affects the Israel-Hamas story. And I'm going crazy, I think, because every time Anthony Blinken says something, or even Joe Biden, all they can say is Israel should pull back against Hamas, and or we must have a Palestinian state. And to me, both of those are non-starters, Aaron Cohn.
Well, Larry, in Arabic, there's an expression. It's bidak al-haqawahu, which means you want the truth or you want his brother. I'm going to give you the truth.
The truth.
So with Pakistan and Iran are like the Real Housewives of the Middle East. They've been skirmishing for years. However, what we're looking at here is the Sunnis and the Shias, and they've been getting into it for a long time. And so this is more proxy paramilitary terrorism. I agree with the congressman 100%. Israel doesn't have the luxury of not being good. We saw what happened, the intelligence failure on October 7th. 1,200 killed. What did Hamas expect? What did Gaza expect? Those are one in there, they're thumping like crazy. However, Israel does have a connection with the Pakistanis to some degree, very quietly. I can tell you from my days in tradecraft in Israel. However, Iran is striking Pakistani militant groups, fearing that they may be Israeli intelligence pods in response to the killing or the terror attack by ISIL against the Soleimani. What's it called? The attack that just happened. That I'm losing myself here. The attack that just happened at the burial of Soleimani when they were celebrating his burial.
Right,
there was an attack that happened, correct, which ISIL claimed respect for, or claimed credit for. So what happens here in the Middle East is all these little proxies, Larry, are starting to flex now. They're doing it for a couple of reasons. One, they want to be able to get shots off quietly over to the border, to that housewife that they've been skirmishing with. Two, they want to keep testing the resolve, and I agree with the congressman, to the Americans' resolve. They want to test that and see how far they can push it. They're seeing the Houthis do it in the Red Sea or in the dead off the ocean, and now they're seeing if they can continue to push that right now. See if the U.S. is going to flex, which they're not, and that's the problem.
That's the thing, Mike Waltz. That last point. I mean, it's like the U.S. is not showing up for all these things that are happening. The skirmishes, I know the housewives of the Middle East, yes, but Pakistan is a nuclear power. By the way, Iran is bombing Iraq. Okay, so that's just one more thing. By the way, one country that's not bombing Iran is the United States. We're hitting the Houthis 4 cycles. Fine. Does anybody really care? The Houthis aren't the Houthis. Iran is the Houthis.
No, that's right. We're dealing with all of the tentacles of the octopus rather than going to deal with the root of it. We're dealing with the symptoms and not the disease. But Larry, it has an even further effect. All of these ships and tanks, bombers, and assets that you're seeing we surge to the Middle East, there's an opportunity cost. You know where they're not? They're not deterring China in the Indo-Pacific. The force that actually could defeat the United States. And the other opportunity cost is those ships should be in maintenance. They should be in refit. Those crews should be home. They're being extended. One of the aircraft carriers was supposed to be home for Christmas. We're in a recruiting and retention crisis right now, so I guarantee you their spouses are saying think again when it comes time to re-enlist. And so all of our adversaries everywhere else are perfectly fine to see an entire fleet tied down by a ragtag bunch of terrorists that Iran is going to continue to pump full of cash until we deal with the root of the problem.
And throughout this little episode in the last, Anthony Blinken, our Secretary of State, is with all the crazy people.
Davos.
All the crazy people at Davos, okay? All the crazy people at Davos. Thank you, gentlemen. Congressman Mike Waltz, Aaron Cohn, we appreciate it.